Welcome back to today's video. Have you ever felt like traditional sales tactics leaves you feeling disconnected from your customers? If so, you're not alone. And there are many salespeople out there that are craving a more authentic approach. But here's the exciting truth. Sales Inception, or what I teach about sales, provides a framework for building genuine relationships that benefit both you and your customer. So if you're ready to ditch old school sales scripts and create win-win solutions that really drive customer loyalty, it's time to embrace the transformative power of Sales Inception. What I remember being taught about sales, it was either this game of like close people and twist their arm into doing something, right? Which never felt great to me. This idea of being a strong closer. Or it was, hey, well, if I just build enough rapport, they're going to buy because they like me. And I don't think that's true either. Probably the best way I've seen this described is there's a book called Gap Selling written by, I forget his first name, Keenan. And I'll put the quadrant up on the screen, but he has this quadrant that helps you realize why customers buy. And the reason they buy has nothing to do actually with how much they like you. It has everything to do with the amount of value you provide. And so if your customer values your product or service that you're selling and they don't like you, they're just going to say yes. Okay? If they value your product or service and they like you, it's like, yeah, we're going to go out and celebrate afterwards. Like this is a friendship and a relationship, right? I think that's ultimately what we all want to create, right? Is that scenario. If they don't like you and they don't see value in your product or service, they're going to tell you to get out of here, right? He says it a little harsher. And if they do like you, but they don't see value, they're just going to say no, thank you. And they're going to say it nice. Or maybe they're going to tell you they're going to think about it because they don't want to hurt your feelings, right? So why do I bring this up? I bring this up because it's not just about building rapport. It's about helping people feel heard and helping people find value. If you want someone to like you, if you want someone to listen to you, show that you hear them and that you understand where they're coming from. And so part of how we do that is by asking good questions, figuring out where they're at right now, what their dreams and goals are, what's keeping them from getting there. And then getting them to say it in a way that's concise so we can repeat it back to them and show, hey, I understand you, what you need, and what you're looking for. I've found that builds more rapport than talking about my kids or sharing sports stories about our favorite sports teams. And don't get me wrong, like those can be great things to talk about too. And that might just make us like each other on a personal level. That doesn't make somebody buy. Someone's not going to buy because they think I have 4 cute kids. Someone's not going to buy because we like the same football team. And once again, it can be important to establish a little bit of a personal connection with people. And depending on your industry, there may not be time for that, or that may not be the outcome you're looking to get. And so where you can really help someone feel empowered or feel connected to you is when you can clearly show and clearly demonstrate you know what their problem is. You know what they're dealing with. And help them articulate that. And so how do we do that? Is people tell us what's going on in their world, tell us what's going on in their life. Language can help us uncover more. Tell me more about that. Tell me why you said that. Why would that be important to you? It sounds like you're saying this. It seems like you mean that. I'm hearing you say this, but it kind of feels like you're telling me this. And that kind of language can get people to continue to expound and clarify what they mean till you understand it and you can repeat back and say, hey, so what it sounds like is what's really getting you in the way of being where you want to be is you just don't feel like you have the time necessary to handle everything that's coming your way every day as the owner of your business, right? Or maybe it's, hey, you love the idea of having our quarterly product or service, or you love the idea of having our quarterly service, And what you're just trying to figure out is, if it's going to fit the budget for you, right? And that I'm just making up some examples right off the cuff. And I think sometimes we are so focused on build rapport, then explain our product, offer the benefit, like talk about a problem, feature, a benefit, right? Talk about a problem, create a solution, give them the solution for it. And once again, I'm not saying any of those things aren't valid. And if they don't believe we understand their situation, it doesn't matter what problems our product will solve. It doesn't matter how much rapport we've built. And so if we want to build a lasting connection, part of it will come in, comes after the sale, but part of it comes through initially. The trust is built, I believe, when we can show we understand their situation. I don't think trust is built by talking about our kids. And you can. I'm not saying you can't do that. And if I want to make sure someone understands me, I want them to be able to tell me what my problem is and understand that they understand the problem in the issue. Right? And that before they ever offer me their solution, they know, hey, this is what you're going through. This is where you're at. This is where you're stuck. And here's the clear steps to get past that. So that's the idea with sales inception. And what I teach is that we want to start with this idea of the kick, where we kick ourselves to reality. We realize that we got to show up without baggage and without an agenda, and we've got to help them feel free. And then we've got to introduce some ideas that might challenge some of their thinking. We've got to plant some seeds. We've got to ask questions that can get them to think about where they're at and where they want to be. And then we start building this dream of what their ideal future would look like. In gap selling, it talks about this gap between their current state and their future state, right? So we want to build a dream of where they want to go. And then we want to do a reality check. We want to show them this is where you're at right now, right? And we can't do that if we don't do a good job of planting those seeds and understanding by asking good questions where they currently are, what their situation looks like. If they could change something in their one thing, what would it be? Right? And so I really feel and have come to see that to have a genuine relationship with someone in sales isn't about the rapport. It's about understanding their situation, understanding where they're at and what they need to get to the next step. And sometimes it's not just about me understanding it. Sometimes I'll have a sales conversation and I can see the problem well before they do. And I could just state the problem, right? I could just tell them, here's your problem, here's the solution. And it's way more powerful if they say it. They say it can take 19 to 20 times to tell someone something before they learn it, where it only takes one time for someone to say something to really come to that aha moment for themselves. And so the better you can get at asking questions and helping someone discover things for themselves, the more they're going to feel like, man, this guy really understands me. This guy really knows me. This guy helps me realize things I never thought about before, right? And then you have a great connection when that happens. And then when you come in with your product and you focus on selling your product to that particular need that they have, to solving that problem, then you're bringing in tremendous value. And then because they feel heard and seen, there's that, they're going to like you more and they're going to want to high five you at the end because they see the value. This was eye-opening for me because I think before I ever read this book, Gap Selling, I always thought that, hey, getting them to like you, building rapport is so important. And it's not going to be the reason people buy at the end of the day. It can make for a more fun celebration at the end. And if you really want to create a connection, show your client or your prospect that you understand where they're at and where they're trying to go. I'm Drew Norton, the Everyday Sales Leader, and this is your daily dose of sales inception.